Falcons Pulse, welcome back. Week 5 review. And man, what a fun week it's been. I got to say, there were some upsets. There were some really good games, especially the one in London turned out pretty well. So we're going to dive right into these games. Don't forget to subscribe and like. We got more content like this on the way weekly. And let's dive right in. All right, starting with the Thursday night game, we had the Atlanta Falcons defeating the Buccaneers at home, 36-30. I have a whole reaction to this on the night, so go check it out. Because as a Falcons fan, that was very fun to see. We take care of business against the Saints. We take care of business against the Buccaneers, and the Falcons now have the lead in the South. So as a team takeaway, that's great. There's a lot to clean up, a lot to improve on. But Kirk Cousins looked amazing. Glad to see it. We need healthy linebacker room, and we'll grow from there. For the Buccaneers, the takeaway really from this game mainly is that you just can't let up. How do you lose that game? I mean, with 2 minutes left, you had the lead. You were in field goal range. It was hard. You got to clean some things up. Your defense, wasn't completely healthy. Both safeties out. So, a lot to look forward to once those guys are back and have that leadership, especially with Winfield. So I feel like, there's good on both sides. They just have a lot to improve on as the season goes, and they'll see each other again. So we'll see what happens. Falcons, big win. Excited to see it. On to New England. Foxborough. What a stinker. The Dolphins winning against the Patriots, I didn't project it. I wouldn't have. The Dolphins win 15-10, and Jacoby Brissett looked terrible. I mean, he's not the future there. I know the talks are that might be coming around now, which is great, because if this is the game that takes it, then let's see it. I'm tired of seeing Jacoby Brissett come out every week and game manage. And I don't even know if he game manages anymore. He just comes in, snaps the ball, gets sacked, makes him look bad. I mean, he's missed a lot. The Polk touchdown, either way, it's kind of a dumb rule, but that's how it fell. It's not like the Patriots are going to be competing for a lot this year, but they need something to look forward to as a fan base, and to get Drake May in is huge. Dolphins, obviously, no Tua still, so nothing to expect. I think the Dolphins are going to still continue to slide, even with that win. The Patriots, their defense gave them a lot of opportunities. Special teams gave them a lot of opportunities. And, of course, Jacoby Brissett couldn't get it done. So I'm tired of even the notion of weekly reviews on this team until Drake May gets put in, because it's not going to be exciting. It's going to be the same thing. They almost had it, or they could have had it, because Brissett's in. I mean, he's always going to be a woulda, coulda, but he's never getting the job done. So Patriots, step it up, get May in there. Dolphins, you just need to heal up for the main thing. The Denver Broncos have done it. They have beat the Raiders, and I don't think that was going to be something that I predicted. I don't know. It was a questionable game, but the Broncos looked good in a 34-18 victory at home, and they're nice uniforms. I mean, I love the throwbacks. Make them permanent. But going forward for the Broncos, Bo Nix, if he can keep the turnover rate down, he's gonna lead that offense to do some things. The Raiders, they did give the game away. Minshew, AOC, it just doesn't matter. Just a mess at quarterback. No Devontae Adams obviously hurts, but he's getting traded, so I guess we'll see what happens there. The takeaway for the Raiders is that they do need a quarterback. They have a lot of work on the offensive side of the ball. I think their defense, it's gonna break once your offense, throws a pick six and does those things where they just can't get the ball down. They throw 3 interceptions in total. I mean, you're putting your defense in a hard spot. So I'm not surprised that the Raiders lose this game. Broncos, we have a lot to improve on. I'm not sold on Nix just yet. He's looking upwards. That's good to see. Their running game, they're throwing a lot of different running backs in there. We still need to figure out who's number one ultimately. But and Sutton needs to start producing a little bit more. He only put up 32 yards in this game. As a number one, you need to do a little bit more. I know they can have silent games, but against DBs like the Raiders have, you got to get open more. So just keep it rolling. 3-game win streak there. That's shocking. Can they keep it up? We'll see. They have the Chargers next week. So Bronco fans, rejoice! You beat the Raiders. No more nine win streak for them. That was something. The Arizona Cardinals defeat the 49ers at home 24-23. And man, oh man, 49ers, what are we doing? Rams come back from behind and win. Cardinals come back from behind and win. I mean, the 49ers had a special team play that led to a touchdown. It's hard when Brock Purdy has been put on this pedestal. He threw 19 of 35 for 244, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. He was sacked twice. It's just tough. Jordan Mason only getting 14 carries. Maybe lean into your run game a little bit more, especially when Purdy's having such a tough go in this game, because he was efficient. I mean, he averaged 6.4 yards on 14 carries, 89 yards. So Brandon Ayuk looked great. That's good to see him kind of resurging after a few 4 quiet weeks, but it ultimately wasn't enough. The Arizona Cardinals come in and upset. We know what we're getting with the Cardinals. Their defense is shoddy. It's not the most productive defense, but their offense can be lights out when they want to be. So the fact they come in here, Kyle Shanahan is a choker. And until the 49ers figure that out and he can get away from that, it's just growing. They did it in 2 Super Bowls. Kyle Shanahan was there with the Falcons in 2016. And now he's doing it in regular season games. So I understand you're banged up, but you are the better team still against this Cardinals team. So let's go forward and stop losing games we shouldn't. The New York Giants go to Seattle and escape with a win, 29-20. I did not expect this. After the performance Seattle had against the Lions, I thought there was a lot of upside. I thought they had a lot of things they could clean up on the defensive side, but their offense looked great. In this game, their offense was sluggish, very slow. Kenneth Walker had 5 carries, only 7 in total. We're not leaning into our run game much. Geno threw 40 times. Only for 284 and a touchdown. He was sacked 7 times. That front 7 of the Giants was eating out there. Daniel Jones, he was productive. People just don't want to have that discussion because there's a lot of turmoil for some reason with Daniel Jones in the last 2 years. But this year he's been pretty decent. 23 34, 257 and 2 touchdowns. Sacked 3 times. Not a bad outing for him. On the running side, they're not the greatest, but they were without Neighbors. Their biggest production on offense they were without, and Seattle lost. I really feel like this was just one that Seattle gave away, and any given Sunday really plays into this. But I'm beyond disappointed. DK lost another fumble. It's 2 weeks in a row now that DK has lost a fumble. So he needs to clean that up. I'm shocked. I don't think the Giants are going to go too much farther with this, but something to look up to. While Seattle, your defense is a question. You can't stop the run game, and you aren't stopping the pass. So you need your offense to put up 30 plus every week. You're not going to get it. Good luck. So, Seattle, we got a lot to work on. New Jersey, hey, let's go home with a win. The New Jersey Jets and the Minnesota Vikings in a London game. It's always interesting. But the Vikings come out on top 23-17. And in this game, Sam Darnold looking like his old self a bit. 14-31, 179 and an interception. That's not the Darnold I've seen for 4 weeks. We saw a little bit of that last week, so I think it's going to start rolling. The run game wasn't really efficient. Overall, the Jets defense did their job. The Jets defense caused turnovers and kept the points down. Then here you have Andrew Van Ginkel getting a pick 6. So Rodgers, he's not healthy, and I had him on my bench in fantasy. So just keeping my tab on him. 29 of 54, 54 times throwing again. You did it last week in the rain. It didn't work. And now you're doing it again in London, and it didn't work. So are we going to lean more into Breece Hall and Braylon Allen? You ran 14 times. Maybe we should get that to 20 plus, 30. I mean, we got to get the ball somewhere else. Rodgers is banged up. He's telling everybody, hey, I have a high ankle sprain, or a low ankle sprain. I mean, he has stuff going on. He says legs are bothering him. You need to lean into something else for he doesn't feel the pressure as much, because he threw 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Now they had the chance to win and he threw an INT. I don't know if it was miscommunication or if it was an underthrown ball. It was kind of a weird play there. But Garrett Wilson, great game for him. Finally, he's here in a loss. Unfortunately, you'd like to see it when they're winning. I just think that the Jets have so much upside, and I'm disappointed. Just disappointed so far. I think they can clean it up, but Saleh, you're on the hot seat. While the Vikings are 5-0, I don't know how long that continues to go. I think they're going to start sliding a bit just by the play Darnold's kind of gone down. But here soon they'll get Hawkinson back, so that'll open up some more. And their defense is just, I mean, it's great. Their defense has been lights out. That's the shining spot for the Vikings. They have a lot of weapons on the offense. Quarterback's a little bit of a question mark still, but hey, 5-0, no complaints. Best team in the league. Skull once again. The Carolina Panthers lose 10-36 to the Chicago Bears, and the Bears offense is starting to come together. I'm so excited to see it. Caleb Williams, oh man, #1 pick. He was having a lot of harsh critics the first few weeks. I usually give him season and then a little bit longer. I like to see it longer, but a lot of people are pretty quick to call for someone's career. But Caleb Williams, he looked better in this game. He had no turnovers, and that's big. So I'm really excited to see what they're doing. They've used DeAndre Swift a lot better. He wasn't the most productive, but he still was used well. And Chicago's starting to develop their identity, I think. Carolina's a mess. It's a disaster over there. Dalton ultimately just wasn't performing. They play the Falcons next. So, I mean, how do you bring back Bryce Young without getting more harsh critics on your end because you just benched him a couple of weeks ago and now you're just going to start him again? I just don't think Dalton was a long-term answer and kind of a cop-out. I think the Bears, their defense always plays really well for the most part, and that offense, as long as it can start rolling, I think we're gonna see a lot from them. So exciting news there. Panthers, I'm not surprised. I don't think anyone really is. They can be a team that can upset here and there, but they're gonna be a 3 to 4 win team at the end of the year again, and it's not because of head coaching. And if they fire their head coach again, they might be the most disastrous organization for ownership right now. And it might already be that way. So I really want to expect more from Bryce Young going forward, but he's on the bench. It's hard to grow when you're on the bench like that. It's not a good situation. So on the good news, Chicago, we're developing and we're looking better as we go in a tough division. So Bears win big. The Baltimore Ravens upset the Cincinnati Bengals, who are now 1-4, 41-38. Your Ravens are on a 3-game win streak, and man, do they look good. While the Bengals, oh, this one's hard. This one's hard. You snap it and you can't get the kickoff properly. I mean, what a killer. And it's honestly almost going to kill your season because you don't have much more to give at this point. At 1-4, you just can't take losses like this, especially when you're playing so well. Since he always plays well against the Ravens, it was just disappointing. And not because of Burrow. Burrow did amazing. I mean, Jamar Chase, amazing. T. Higgins, amazing. Chase Brown, I don't know what they said on his injury. I know he did get injured, but he was solid. You're not expecting run game when you play Cincy. That's not their identity, but their defense is allowing so many points. I think they can get better as the season goes. but is it gonna be too late? Because you play a tough Ravens team at home, and wow, Derrick Henry was quiet most of the night, and then it gave. In overtime, Derrick Henry had a big run, put Tucker in range. Who Tucker, by the way, 56-yarder in the wind. Clutch kick. I mean, to tie the game, send it into OT. Of course, Lamar, he had the fumble and OT, and it was just a disaster after that for Cincy, which you just didn't expect. You thought it was over for the Ravens. Lamar, he played good, though. Other than that, 4 touchdowns, 348 yards on 42 attempts, 26 completions. Lamar, I understand how people get the narrative that he's a running quarterback. He's just a running back. I sometimes get that myself when I have Zay Flowers and Likely in fantasy, and they just never perform. But this week, I was glad to see them on the up. They used Kolar a lot. You had Flowers. He uses everybody, so it's hard to tell who Lamar's going to use. They're leaning more and more into Derrick Henry, which is awesome for their offense. It's just unstoppable in offense. Defensively, one of the best defenses last year looks sloppy this year. They've had a lot of miscommunication on defense, and they need to clean things up. I think as the season goes, they'll get better and better. But I really am rooting for the Ravens this year because they just have such a great roster. And in Cincy, wow, it's just disappointing. So Ravens, 3-game win streak. Watch out. The Cleveland Browns get humiliated by the Washington Commanders 34-13, and the Commanders are 4-1. Have that on your bingo card at the start of the year, because I didn't. Oh man, Jaden Daniels is a stud. He's probably right now tracking to be the best quarterback in the draft. It's not even close so far. Man, that kid is talented. 14 of 25, 238, 1 interception, 1 touchdown, sacked 3 times. That's fine, but 11 carries for 82 yards. You got your guy now. As long as he can stay healthy, which I wish the Commanders can have a quarterback that stays healthy. They haven't had it. This is a dangerous team. Offensively, they need to clean it up. You're playing a lackluster offense with the Browns. It's hard to even say that the Browns would do anything against any team with that offense right now, because Watson doesn't have time in the pocket. Every time he snaps the ball, he's pretty much under pressure. When he does have time, he's just not getting results right now. He had a good week last week where he looked good. This week, just back to the normal. And people are clamoring for Winston. Jameis. We all know what we're getting with him, but people want it. It's hard to understand. They need Nick Chubb back. They just need him. They've lost their identity without him. And their defense has just crumbled from a top 5 to maybe a top 20, maybe. Just a big fall off there for some reason. They got a lot of things to clean up there. Commanders, their defense is shoddy in my opinion, but they did well in this one. And they're number 1 in the NFC East, and no one expected that. And the Eagles and the Cowboys, they're not looking convincing. Along with the Giants getting a couple wins in there. That's a interesting division now. And I think the Commanders have a real chance of taking it if they can continue this and stay healthy. So, Commanders, rejoice. It's been a long time since you've seen success. Browns, oh man, $230 million for that guy? It's not looking good right now. The Indianapolis Colts lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville 37-34, and no winless teams now. The Jacksonville Jaguars almost handed this to the Colts, who had a comeback by Flacco but ultimately fell short. Flacco's doing okay. He's not turning the ball over. Defense needs to play a bit better. I know they're missing some key pieces here and there. You want Anthony Richardson back too. So a little tough, but you never know if Anthony Richardson's going to perform. So it's just hard. We have such a small sample size with him. Trevor Lawrence, You got the job done, and Doug Peterson saved his job a week. But this team just not convincing me. Tanks Bigsby, is he the RB1? Are we just splitting between him and ETN? I don't know. ETN's more of a receiving threat, that's for sure. But we'll see what's going forward there. This one's hard. It's a divisional matchup. It seems like the Colts, Jaguars, and that division, it's always so interesting how they play each other. So real big surprise. I probably would have took Jacksonville knowing that Anthony Richardson was out. Because Jacksonville, they have a lot of talent. They just haven't used it. So Jacksonville, welcome to the winning side of football. Now, can we stay there? And Indianapolis Colts, we need to heal up. And it's just hard with some players being on IR like they do. So Jacksonville, let's look forward. The Buffalo Bills fall to the Houston Texans 23-20 in Houston, and no surprise. No surprise. I think the Texans, they're going to get better as they go. Losing Nico Collins in this game was big because they looked real convincing before Nico went out. This big playmaker that, lose off the field. He's the number one receiver right now. So you can't blame him for kind of falling short after that. But Josh Allen, I think he probably had a concussion, or he hit his head pretty hard late in the game when they were coming back. But he came back in the game, ruined Mitchell Trubisky's heroic savior, and Josh Allen put out 2 3-and-outs and a questionable 3 passing plays within your 5-yard line, and then you punt. Texans get in the field goal range, and Fairbairn lights out. Good night. Bills are on a slide all of a sudden, and the Texans are 4-1. I think a lot of people expected that. So Buffalo, good fight to come back in this one, but just coming up short sucks. And Josh Allen, who knows what happened there with him getting hit in the head, and then his play started to go downhill a bit. So hopefully he's fine. Overall, just a good game. Good game. Diggs gets his revenge. He didn't really have a massive game. He had a solid one with 6 receptions, 82 yards. Didn't get in the end zone though. So let's see what both these teams go. Moving forward. It's going to be interesting. The Bills have a different dynamic than the Texans for sure. Texans are in an easier division. The Bills, I think they're going to be competing with the Jets there. And then the Dolphins are just not a thing right now. So yeah, it's going to be the Bills and the Jets there. And that dynamic's going to be interesting. Can Rodgers stay healthy? Can the Bills, come back from this shortcoming against good teams the last 2 weeks? Who knows? So Texans, big win. Congratulations. Go Pack Go. Beating the Rams 24-19. And Tucker Kraft, I needed that in fantasy this week. We'll see if I win. Monday night hasn't happened just yet. But Jordan Love looked solid. He's going to get better coming off injury. The Rams, no expectations for this team right now because of all the injuries they have. Once they get healthy, I think they'll get better. And to be competing in this game, that's because you have Matthew Stafford as your quarterback. Truly. I thought the Packers would score a little bit more points, but scraping this one by, that's fine. Both teams have injuries that they're coming off of, and and of course the Rams still have. So I think there's just improvement for both these teams. They got kind of stalled because of those things. So I'm just glad to see the Packers, Jordan Love picking up this win. They need it, especially in their division right now. You got the Lions, you got the Bears, and then you got the Vikings. That's probably the best division in football right now. Wow. So the Packers need this. The Rams, their division is kind of lackluster so far. We'll see how that continues to play. So go Pack Go once again. Big win in Los Angeles. Dakota Prescott and the Dallas Cowgirls go to Pittsburgh and take care of business 20-17. And the only reason I threw out those names is because it was the most boring delayed game I've ever watched. I mean, wow. Pittsburgh, they sure know how to suck the life away of a football team. I mean, the game just, it's boring. I mean, the most exciting time was the last drive, which even then felt kind of sluggish. Justin Fields doing his job, more game managing. Nothing lights out. Pickens got clamped. Wow. Against the injured defense. I thought the Steelers would win this one. It was close. The delay, can't affect things. Prescott didn't look great. 29 of 42, 352 yards because they passed so much. They actually ran a lot too. They had a lot of time with the ball, but 2 interceptions, and they were both ugly. Not really your favorite. So this game could have been way more for the Cowboys if Dak cleaned up his play. But that's just Pittsburgh football, baby. That defense will keep this team in any game. It's just Ken Fields and Najee Harris get the job done. Harris has not looked great. And Fields, he's doing his thing. Just nothing spectacular. He's like a mediocre quarterback. So you know what you were getting in this one. Two teams that are questionable going against each other. Sunday Night Football, a lot of history, a lot of focus. Not my favorite game of the week, but Cowboys, big win. Dak, get better as an MVP candidate. Get better. Monday Night Football just finished, and the New Orleans Saints are defeated by the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. And man, I'll tell you, I just have a distaste for the Saints. So it's a great day. I just lost my fantasy by 0.4 of a point because of a Kamara too. So yeah, a lot of distaste for the Saints. So I'm glad to see them lose. Kansas City did their thing. Patrick Mahomes, 28 to 39, 331, and an interception. He had an okay game. Nothing crazy. Kareem Hunt had a touchdown. He did really well for his return to the NFL. The Saints, just posers, and that's what I thought they were for the first few weeks. Derek Carr is back to Derek Carr. He did get injured, unfortunately. You never want that on someone. But it didn't really affect it. Derek Carr, he's Derek Carr doing Derek Carr things. Had everyone thinking he was this new Derek Carr, and here we are now. So Alvin Kamara did barely anything, still enough to make me lose in fantasy. Yeah, that's bitter. 0.4 of a point. And then, their defense just allowing a lot of yards. They allowed a lot of yards, and that's not how you win games. Chiefs got to get better in the red zone. A lot of field goals. This game, it would have been, a little bit better had Carr just played more consistent, but it's their Carr. So, Kansas City, big win. I like that. South, Falcons own it. What's new? And right now I have a real big distaste for the Saints. More than I usually do as a Saints hater. Because I lost in fantasy due to Kamara. So, I'm glad you guys took the L. On to next week. Oh man, this will be interesting, won't it? So that's going to sum it up for week 5 of NFL football. And man, every week of football is so entertaining, especially when the Falcons can win and the Saints can lose, as you can tell by my last clip. So let me know. What's your thoughts? Did I miss anything key that you think I should point out next time? And is there any disagreements that you have? Just let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and like. We have content like this weekly coming around. And enjoy your week as we got football on Thursday again.